Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have David Jemmett with me here today. He's a leader in the industry of cybersecurity. David is the CEO of CISO Global. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, this is awesome. This is a big deal, and as you just shared with me, the biggest industry is
It's the third largest GDP in the world.
Holy mackerel! So trillions.
10.5 trillion was caused in 2024 due to damage, ransomware, and all the different things that go with cybersecurity crime. And last year, 282 billion as a world to cover that. It's kind of a big gap.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And growing, I imagine, or are we ever going to get on top of that?
Not anytime soon, no. There's 4 million job openings in cybersecurity today. So
4 million
proactive software products, which we've developed, as well as some other folks. Instead of being reactive, we have to be proactive.
Sure. You just wait for the next hack style or technique to come out, and then you try to patch that breach. You're always going to be chasing.
That's what happens in today's market, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk real quick about the 4 million jobs. Where are those?
In limbo.
Are they almost all virtual? Can people do that from almost anywhere? Is it all?
Yeah, we have offices all around the U.S. and a couple overseas, but not overseas in Europe. But you can do it virtually, but most of the time, when there's a large breach with a corporation or a government, they want you to be on site so they can know exactly what data has been taken, how it was done, and how to remediate it.
Okay. They have cloud-based services, right? Is everything stored on site?
Not everybody, but
okay.
Would be surprised about how many people really are still on site versus the cloud. And the cloud just as vulnerable as on site.
Okay. And how long do you have to stay on site for? How long does an investigation last, or repair, or whatever you call it?
Well, remediating. Typically we get called after the breach.
Right.
And it becomes a new client. It can last, if we get there quick enough, 48 hours. And then we actually can figure out who the hackers were, what group they're from, what country they're from, what kind of malicious malware or ransomware they've injected. But we were able to eradicate it quicker. Some, when we come in later to replace an incident response group or replace a company, typically it can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks. But usually within 48 hours, we can eradicate the hackers.
Okay. How does one get into this industry? I'm thinking of like some famous cases where people are caught and then they start working for the defensive side, right, and training people how to stop hackers. There's my son's starting at Embry-Riddle this fall here in Arizona in Prescott, and they have one of the few cybersecurity training programs, I think, in college. Is that right?
There's a few now. U of A actually has. They're backed by the NSA. ASU has a program, and GCU, believe it or not, has a program as well.
Okay, so it's a booming new industry. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to make up 4 million jobs.
And what do they focus on in that industry? I mean, first they have to really dive into how these networks work and programming, I imagine, and other stuff before they can even get to the next level of trying to be a hacker and stop hacking.
That's correct. So Tim, just think of this. Your IT guys, most C-levels or EVPs or business owners, are they happy if they can turn their computer on? They don't want to think about anything else.
No.
But I told you how bad it is every 11 seconds somebody's being hacked. There's a difference between IT and then cybersecurity. IT are the new guys who build boxes and put software on.
Right.
We're the old generation. Well, right now we're getting new people in, but we're the heart surgeons and brain surgeons. So we know how to fix those boxes to make them secured and what we call hardened. And so that's what we do versus someone who's in IT. And a lot of people get that mixed up. They're like, hey, my system works, my phone system works. It's all good.
I can unplug it and plug it back in. It'll fix it. It's good.
Just ask Andy McCain, who's on our board. He thought it all worked. It was fine until it wasn't.
Okay. I'm sure you have a million stories. What's a good example of that people would know and recognize that might scare people into realizing how real these problems can be and how big?
It's as small as people, hackers taking advantage of the elderly, right? That's yeah, right. The larger is no one knows this, and I don't know why it's not published more. The FBI and CIA 4 months ago put out a whole media alert that said the Chinese are in our infrastructure, the grid, rivers, dams, they're in there, and we're trying to figure it out. It was 24 hours ago. They said, by the way, a nuclear plant was just infiltrated. No one knows that. Well, lucky they didn't turn it off. And I always say, China state-sponsored, Russia, North Korea, Iran, why are they not taking us down? Well, do you want to milk the cow or kill the cow? They're taking our money, and that's what they're after.
So can you give like an example of how, the type of hostage scenario these types of hackers use?
Yeah, it's ransomware, and I'll go back because we can't talk about a lot of our customers. They don't want to be associated with the breach. But for example, Hensley Beverage here in town, right? Most people, they're a distribution beer brand. Do you know how many hundreds of millions they make? And so when he came onto our board, he goes, I want to see what you do. So we did a gap analysis. We holistically looked at the company, and essentially we said, hey, you have 5 locations. He goes, I didn't tell you that. No, we mapped it out. We figured it out. We can see your assets. And we did it without even asking him for a log on it and his password to his router. We went through the guest network to the main main network, and then we infiltrated and found all the assets. And so I can say this now, but Andy was like, so we came up with a plan. This is how you fix it. And they said, we don't have it in the budget right now. I said, how much money do you make a month digitally? 80%, 20% is in this. It's almost like Fort Knox safe. It's gorgeous. 3 key entry. It's just amazing. I said, I'll tell you what, if I steal 80% of your money, I'll take care of you the rest of your life. You take 20. And he thought it was a joke. He's like, okay. 2.5 months later, I get a call at 7:30 at night. I think we've been breached. You taught our IT team. I think we have a problem. We were able to get in there, and what they did is sent an email. They got in there first, exfiltrated their data. They thought they had good files. We stopped them before they got a whole bunch out. And then they encrypted their servers and said, if you are ransom, do you want to turn back on? Because none of their systems would work. And he said it was the biggest time in the pandemic and the largest volume history in the next 2 weeks Hensley would ever have. And I asked him, the IT team, while they're there, how long would it take you to actually rebuild it? 3.5 to 4 weeks. Now, what kind of damage did that do?
Right.
All people have to be is proactive. And we hold free seminars here in town, not selling our services. It's called The Secret Squirrel, and we hold it with a few folks sponsor it. We just go in and talk about education, how to educate them.
Right.
The biggest breach happens to be the people around you inside your business. That's where problems come from.
Okay. Some sort of malware, some
ransomware, malware. Yeah, it's all pretty destructive.
Okay. That's scary and interesting. What's a common misconception people think about cybersecurity?
It's a black hole. You can't see it. And I liken it to the pandemic. I won't tell that story, but let's just say a friend of mine said they're going out. Can I watch their kids? I said, sure. Went out. The kids spent the weekend. They called me on Monday and said, we have COVID. There were 27 people there. And I go, did you know they had COVID? Why did you go out in the first place? No, we didn't. But you couldn't see it. And so CFOs and CEOs are like, their IT person says, we're okay, we're safe. You want a second set of eyes because they built your network. They don't want the warts on it to show. If that's not the case. You want to keep yourself safe. So you want somebody to come in and evaluate it. And that's where a lot of people fail. They go, I'm being told I'm safe. I must be safe.
Right. Well, yeah, there's a conflict of interest from the IT guy, but he simply may not know, how to defend it.
True.
Okay. So, is there a lot of competition in the cybersecurity space?
I call them frenemies. We all
Okay.
work together. It's kind of
Okay.
like the internet back in the day when backbones. We split it up and help each other because there was so much intake in the beginning. But today, because of those 4 million jobs, we call, for example, a good friend of mine owns Necentrics. We work together because he doesn't have a bench on some things and he uses our people. We have DC offices. So we help each other through the industry. Yes, there's competition. Sometimes we bid against each other. But you can imagine there's so much business out there. Partnerships are necessary.
Okay. Well, that gets me sort of to the CISO, right? And the nature of leveraging other experts to get things done better and faster. Can you talk a little bit about your current company?
Sure. CISO, it actually stands for Chief Information Security Officer, which I thought it was pretty unique because it's a C-level position, but even banks don't know what it means. So we were better off Cerberus Cyber Sentinel Corp, but I changed the name. So CISO was started because there was such fragment pieces of cybersecurity, gap analysis, pen testing, incident response we just talked about, training. So essentially in the beginning, brought all these companies together I'd worked with before in the past. They either work with me in my companies or partner with me, and decided to go together stock for stock. We listed on OTC, and then we upped it. By the time we were up to NASDAQ, we had acquired 18 companies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So CISO Global is your full cybersecurity solution, and we have proprietary software that is proactive versus reactive because you never want to know when you're breached afterwards.
Sure. If somebody listening or watching or knows somebody in this position, what do they need to know? What tips would you give them to, do they just go get an audit? Do they just hire somebody like you to come in and do an analysis?
Yeah, just a gap analysis, which comes with a pen test so we can see your vulnerabilities outside. But we also go around the perimeter and we take a look at how I could breach you physically. We have experts that do that. And then we give you a report, say, can you fix these things yourself? But more importantly is education. So many people are unaware of what cybersecurity really is. Getting educated is one of the most important pieces.
Okay. Well, break it down for us. 101, just the lay level. What is cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity didn't used to be called that, but cybersecurity is protecting from the bad guys. Now, it used to be guys in hoodies. In fact, I hired the first 4 hackers in Arizona, Grant Woods, called the 4 Horsemen. I'm still in contact with them, got them to work with me. They also work with the government when they were with me. They were all under 18, right? That was back then with hoodies just to see what they could do. Luke's Air Force Base, AT&T, I can go on and on. Today, it's state sponsored. Russia has groups that work for them. China has groups that work for them. Not a few, thousands. Iran, North Korea, they sponsor these groups and say, take as much money, but if you get intellectual property, you have to give it to us. So we had a sub-military contractor, name left out on purpose, and we went in and found out that they were attacked by China. They work with DARPA. Name any agency, they work with them.
Wow.
We went in and figured it out, figured out what files they had gotten, stopped them, but it was too late on some of them.
Right.
Chinese took the intellectual property and they ransomed this company that paid it. The ransomware kept it, and the Chinese kept this intellectual property on plans that were like 5 years in the future.
Oh, wow.
I can tell you already that some of those have already come out and you've seen them.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So those are things that, and what was his name? The one who went to all the banks. They go, "Why are you still robbing banks?" He goes, "That's where the money is."
Right.
Right. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have any money, they're going to come get it. They're going to try.
How about the changes and advances with AI? Is that like quadrupling the rate at which these things are happening?
Well, we as cybersecurity companies with software are using and implementing AI for years, right? They're machine learning algorithms. Now it's become so advanced and so quick because of compute. We run against them all the time, scenarios or different pieces of software. At the same time, they have all this money that they're putting in to create even more different advanced. And in fact, if they weren't the bad guys, I'm impressed with some of the things they've created that we've had in combat. But it's, that has brought a whole new advanced in cybersecurity, and it's not going to stop. And I would say quadruple. No, in the next 2 to 3 years, it will 10 times to 20 times what it is today.
Wow. Okay. It feels a little bit like maybe like chess, right? When we have a grandmaster playing against a computer, and the computer's gotten so fast. Now we have computers playing against other computers. They're just seeing who can get the best algorithms together. It's a technology race.
It's a total technology race. And as the head of one of the folks spoke in Congress, who I know, 3 days, last Friday, he said we are ill prepared in the U.S. if there was a national attack because we've been fighting World War III in the digital world for the last 5 or 6 years, and no one knows it.
Yikes. So that's leads me to the next question. What is the biggest challenge you see in the space right now?
Having qualified people and people being educated. I mean, understanding cyber. And over 90% of the breaches, the ransomware or malware, come in from people in your organization because they weren't aware they shouldn't click this, or they weren't aware not to go to this website that looked real but you misspelled. Right. If they had education, we see companies that we do educational programs with drop off entirely, and they
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that helps. So sometimes the best defense is simple, and I mean the weakest spot is through us people, right? So that's what they target. They try to get us to, and enter our info to the wrong site and things like that. If there's 4 million jobs available and AI is really advancing this super quickly, it seems like this isn't really a challenge of hiring more people. It sounds like you're going to need more processing power and generate more AI.
And partnership agreements, which we have with Microsoft, Amazon, together to help protect, as well as our intellectual software. Yes, that's the way it has to go. The people, we're bringing people like your son is going to learn cybersecurity. We need more people like him to come to organizations so that they can be, trained. Because one thing we've realized is school is one thing, and you know that because you went to school. Right. But do you use your schooling today? It's different in the real world. And that's why we encourage them to go be interns in summers and do what they need to do.
For sure. What's that great Mark Twain quote? I try not to let my schooling interfere with my education.
Right. That's right.
Right. Okay. As we start wrapping things up a little bit, well, first of all, what's one of the bigger goals for your company right now?
Just for trying to protect and keep people from being hacked. And more importantly, our growth with our software, and we are global. So being here in Phoenix, Arizona, is growing our offices here as well.
Okay. So what's the biggest hurdle for that?
People.
Yeah, still people. Okay.
Still people.
Okay.
But they've got some great training programs, as I said, at GCU, NSA SPAC, U of A. So we're getting some great interns, and then we'll bring them on more and more, and we get the pick of the litter. So we look forward to bringing some of those folks on board.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, David. So this is a new question I like to ask people sometimes. You're very interesting. You've done all sorts of stuff. I imagine you have a very rewarding life and have conquered a few mountains in the past. What have you done in the last 12 months that has changed your life?
Reorganized the company. More importantly, worked more than I did in my first company.
Okay.
And realized that I've always had better people around me so that they can, I can learn from them.
Right.
And still learning today. What's changed my life is how I look at the world. I look at Wall Street differently, look at money. I look at, what are we based on today, right? You have the gold standard. We don't anymore. Digital, Bitcoin. What's changed my life is just sitting back going, what am I going to do after I get my predecessor in?
Okay.
And that's really got me to thinking and starting to jot down my notes and try to figure out what the next step is in life. So that's really, I never thought about the next steps. I just went on, and this is the first time I'm proactively planning it.
Okay. Yeah, and you must be very good at delegating to have, you talked about getting, smart team people, members, and really listening to them, right? And getting out of their way, maybe? Is that the standard
Always
practice?
have smarter people around you. If you're not learning every day, then you're doing something wrong.
Okay, excellent. Good stuff. Reflection question. What do you wish you would have known sooner about building wealth and success earlier in your career?
Preservation. I had others that I've had mentors here in town that helped me achieve that, which I'm grateful for. Otherwise, it would have been a bigger pitfall. But having those mentors early on from different walks of life who were much older, who had gained wealth already, and just took me under their shoulder and said, drunken sailor, stop spending.
Right.
Buying cars, you can drive one. So that's the reflection is, I'm glad I caught it on early. I wish I would have known that for myself, but lucky I had people help me.
Heck yeah. Good one, David. Thank you. If people would like to learn more or connect with you, what can they do? Where should they go?
They can go to the website. It's very easy. It's CISO.inc. CISO Inc.
Okay, excellent. And that's anyone who needs cybersecurity for their company, basically.
That would be everybody. It's got to be somebody. Just go help yourself. Be proactive. That's all I'd ask.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Thank you very much, David Jemmett, for joining me today. Very much appreciate hearing your story and your insights into success and impact in cybersecurity here in Phoenix and across the globe.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me to be on the show. Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thank you.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.